like doing file sharing is because it makes you exercise a lot of knowledge that you should already have, and if you don't remember, it helps you review that. Because you need to know networking, you need to know some OS for checking to see file permissions, and sharing. And on the Linux side, sharing. Because what we want to do, we want to have a Linux system running Ubuntu, sharing. Actually, we did a different Linux. I forgot. We're going to have Linux sharing with Windows, and also Windows is going to share with Linux. That is the easier side. So we're going to do that side first, and then we'll figure out how to get Linux to share with Windows. So that's our goal, is to refresh our networking operating system manipulation in order to set up a Windows share, and then go to the Linux side and see that it's working. So if we go over to Schoology here with my pal John Smart, let's get him logged in. I think he's logged in somewhere here, Jay Smart. Let's get him over to his... Oh, you got to get logged in, Mr. Smart. He's going to go get logged in, Jay Smart. And he's going to go to the operating system course and go down to this homework that is asking you to practice this here. Down here in the homework, network configuration details. It's more than just file sharing, but I'm gonna focus on the file sharing part. So you have a project report that you may have started last time. If not, grab this and fill in your project report. Let's see, do I still have it hanging up here? I don't see it hanging up here. I think I started it. Let me go find it here. I think I'm logged in as Jay Smart. Let's go to his drive. Let's see. Yes, I'm logged in as Jay Smart. And data analysis. Uh-oh. Where's his report? Maybe he didn't do it. Well, we'll jump down to that part. Here. No, that's the cloud assignment. Well, let's go back and open the project report. I'm going to make a copy by doing File, Make a Copy. I'm logged in as JSmart, therefore it lets me make a copy in JSmarts, and let's put it in his folder cs230, and I'm going to call it cs230 chapter 10 lab report template. Let's not call it template, let's call it networking exercise. And it's going to be saved in my cs230 folder. Now I have the copy, and I'm going to be sure to close the old one just so I don't accidentally modify that old one. So what should we call this? Let's see, what was the name of the homework? It was called Chapter 10 Hands-On. That's not a bad name. Let's call it Chapter 10's Hand. Chapter 10 Hands-On. And I'm going to skip over some of these other things just to get right to the content of the assignment. And I'm going to jump to this part here. We've already done, well, last time we did the installing Oracle Linux. So I was not taking screenshots of that. I would just go ahead and copy and paste that. Control V or Control Shift V, paste the content in your Google Doc without changing the destination font. And let's now go to the specific procedure. I'm going to jump down to this part here. This is the part that we're going to demonstrate and practice now. Because we did some networking last time, we can always go back to that. So here in the procedure, I'm going to Control Shift V, paste this, and I'll call this procedure. Let me make a subtitle let's call it file sharing. And I'm going to make that line of a type, let's make that a heading 2 maybe. There we go, file sharing. This is my goal. Goals plural. Goals plural. And we'll zoom in on that for you. So here is my goal, to demonstrate file sharing in both directions between my two VMs. So remember, my VMs are Windows 11 and Linux, Oracle Linux. Not going to worry about the Oracle one at this time. We're going to do it first of all on the Windows machine. So we'll start with the Windows machine. Windows VM file sharing. Now this should be some review for you, but it may have been a while since you've done it, so let's go ahead and walk through and take screenshots as we go. So first of all, I got to get that machine fired up out of my 1,000 machines I have running here. There's my Linux machine that is frozen up on the server that I don't know why. I was demonstrating it to Dr. Elliott. I'm suspecting some issues on that server, and I'm so happy we're going to getting newer ones. But let's bring up my VM running under VMware, Workstation Player 17. And let's see, where did he go? There's a Windows 11 Windows Server. Oh, we did Server 22. Now remember, I have a Windows 11. We did Server 22. So let's go ahead and fire him up. This is the one we installed. And there's my Oracle Linux. I don't need to have him fired up yet. I'll need him when I'm actually testing that I have shared the file. So I'm going to play that virtual machine. And now let's see if I can go larger screen on him. Logging in. Oh, I have to send the Control-Alt-Delete key to him. And let me log in with the insecure password, so I don't have to remember all my other passwords. So here's my server. And now I'll give you a chance to check that you got your server running just fine.
Well, which devices, do we need the Oracle device to make this project work?
We're eventually going to need him to connect to this file share, but initially we don't need him yet to set up the share. I'm going to let him be discoverable. So yes, we're eventually going to need both to prove that file sharing is working, and then to also set up the file sharing from the Linux side. So I wouldn't have the Linux running up until I need him, just because I don't want him slowing me down. And no, I don't need Admin Center. I'm going to not show that message anymore. This is running Windows Server. It's very much like Windows 11, but it's a little tighter on letting you do things without nagging you about security, with everything you do. It pops up this by default. We don't need to use this, but it does let us manage our server some. I'm going to close this little dashboard because I don't need to see him right now. So I have this Windows Server, and my goal here is to share files from this server. I'm going to go to my File Explorer on the server and see what do I have. On my PC, I have a C drive, 48 gig on this C drive. And part of this is to do things somewhat organized, and thinking about sharing files, I think that I would want to share files from a separate drive. So if that drive goes down, it's only share files that I'm lost. I can disconnect the drive if there's ever an issue about sharing. Because remember, sharing is like a possible major vulnerability, and I want to be able to disable that in just by turning off the drive. So I would like to add a second drive that I'm going to be sharing files from. And how do I add a second drive? Well, I have to come up to my machine in my Manage Virtual Machine Settings, and I want to add a hard drive. This is really good practice at manipulating drives under Windows. VMs are so wonderful because I can add a hard drive live. I can do a live connect of a hard drive, and you can actually do this on a real PC. I've done it without crashing my PC. It is a dangerous thing to do, but it's kind of fun to try. I'm going to click add, and I'm going to add a hard disk and click next. Notice it does mention that you cannot add anything but SCSI if you are running right now. Actually, you can add SATA if you're running. You can add either SATA or SCSI. I'm going to go with a recommended SCSI type drive, and it's all virtualized anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. I click next, and I'm going to create a new virtual disk. 60 gig. I don't think I need 60 gig. Even though it's only going to grow as I go. I'm going to have that only grow up to 10 gig. Just make it 10 gig shared file size. And I click next. And it's choosing a name for the drive. I might change the name instead of 2025-0. I'm going to call it 2025-shared. Just so I know that's the shared folder. Sometimes it's helpful to indicate the size of it in the name, so I'm going to put 10G in the size just to remind me if I ever look at that file in the VM, I'll know, oh yeah, that's my 10 gig size drive. And if you ever do this, it'd be very good to keep organized in some systematic way of naming your drive files. Click finish, and now my system has an additional drive I've installed virtually. But now my system needs to know that it can do something with that drive. After I click OK, oh, not sure why I'm seeing that. An offline batch is not in progress. Okay. Uh-oh, it crashed.
No.
I crashed VMware Workstation 17. Well, let's see what's happened here. Something about a batch is not in process. Let's see. I hadn't this didn't happen to me before, but I was using a slightly different configuration. Let's go back to him. He looks like he shut down. Oh, so maybe it is kind of dangerous. Let's see now. Since it crashed on me when I was adding that drive, this is something I wasn't expected to do. I'm going to go ahead and shut him down this time so I can avoid the crash. I'm going to do a start power button. I'm going to do a shutdown just because he was not happy adding a drive when he was powered up, even though VMware said it was okay. I'm going to change it to other, I'm planning it, and continue. This is something about Windows Server. Whenever you do a shutdown or a restart, it wants to keep a log of why you did that. And so it asks you to choose a reason, only because it's going to log this shutdown. I'm going to do continue, let it shut down, and then add my hard drive if it never got added. Let's see if it actually is showing up in my machine. I'm going to go to player, manage. Oh, it's not shut down all the way yet. It's not letting me manage it yet. Oh, he turned off the VMware. So let's go back to VMware, workstation player. And now, before starting it up, let's edit his machine. So I'm going to edit machine settings. Look at that, it does see the hard drive there. So the hard drive did make it in, but it didn't like something about making that change. So now I'm going to click OK, and I'll go ahead and fire him up now. I'm going to run him. That was a little odd that it crashed. But I don't recall if I've done it in Workstation 17 before. So it crashed when I did a live install of the drive. You're welcome to try that and see if yours crashes or not. If all three of us crash, then we know it's definitely, or very highly likely, a problem with Workstation 17. I'm going to go ahead and send that Control-Alt-Delete using that key and log back in here. Now that the drive is added, and it looks like, Samuel, you found your way there, we need to go to Computer Management. And I'll leave him the time to come up. I'm going to close him because I want to go to Computer Management. Clicking here, type Management. Computer Management is where I want to be. The reason I want to be there is because when I install a new drive, I need to go to Disk Management to see that that new drive is there. So I go to Computer Management, Disk Management, and he sees an unknown drive of 10 gig. Well, it's unknown because it needs to be initialized and then formatted. I can right click on that and, oh, I guess I can't right click on it there. Let's do properties. Let's start here. Online. I need to initialize him. I thought the right click would give me the option to initialize. Let's try, no. Let's try properties and see if it gives me the option to initialize him there. No, volumes, no. Where do I initialize him? Let's try clicking him online. No, I need to initialize that drive. Let's see, how about up here? No, let's see, that's listing the partitions on the C drive. Let's try action. Rescan disk, all tasks. Uh-oh. I forget, where do I initialize? Let's try a right click again. No. Nope.
So on the, where it says disk 0, next to where the black bar is,
oh, there.
Right click that. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't go up high enough. I was clicking here. Oh,
yeah.
Now it shows up. Okay, initialize this. That's what I need to do. I knew it was over here somewhere.
I think it's a Windows Server thing because we've never had that with Windows 11 Pro. Because I've never even had to initialize a disk. It just is there.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe they come. I'm not sure what happens on those. Now, notice when I initialize, I have the choice of going the old school MBR or the newer GPT formatted partition. Because I'm happy to be modern and up to date, I'm going to go GPT. But if I ever thought, well, maybe I might want to use this drive, or the drive came from another system, or I might want to be compatible with older systems, I would go MBR. But we'll go with GPT because I'm not going to plan on being compatible with something older. Now it's initialized. Now I can right click new simple volume. I can't create files on it until I've created a volume. So it has to be both initialized and a new simple volume created. I'm going to go next and let it initialize, use everything on the disk for the volume. If I wanted to, I could have multiple volumes on that drive. Doesn't make any sense to do that right now. I'm going to go with the default assigned drive letter. If you had a favorite letter to assign to disks that are being shared, you could decide your drive letter to be assigned. Or if you didn't want drive letters, you could actually assign it what they call a mount point in your file system. We'll go with the standard assign the next available drive letter E. Click next. And I'm going to go with the default formatting, but I'm going to also give it a name. I'm going to call it shared volume. And you can put a space in the name if you like, and I'm going to fix my spelling. And I'm going to go ahead and perform the quick format as default. I'm not caring about compression. I'm thinking that might just slow me down. And click next. So choices, I could have chose ref S. I'm going to go with the suggested NTFS. And next, and finish. Happens pretty quick because it did a quick format. Now, let's bring my File Explorer up. And under my PC, now I see my 2 drives. And now what I need to do in order to share files, and along the way here, take screenshots as you go to put in your document. I'm going to go to shared volume, and I'm going to create a folder. Let's see, I can right click new folder.
Are you in File Explorer?
Yeah, I'm now in File Explorer.
Okay,
yeah.
What did you right click on?
I just right clicked in the space right here.
Oh, you went to this PC.
Yeah, I went to this PC. Now it shows me my new volume that wasn't there because the disk hadn't been initialized before. And I double click on that to browse down into it. I'm going to create my multiple shares inside of the folder called shared. Actually, I'm going to rename that shares plural, not shared. I'm going to call that shares. This is only for, you don't have to create it inside a folder, but just for good organization. I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to create 3 different shares. This time, I'm going to use the new folder icon up there to create my new folder. And I'm going to call this shared RW for shared read write all. Shared read write all. Or maybe should I just call it public? Maybe I'll just call it public. I think that's a better name. Let's call this public. Public read write. And let's now create another one. Let's call it public read only. And let's create another one just for practice at creating shares. Let's call this one private. Selected users only will be able to access the private share. They're all going to be shared. Okay, so they're in the shared, they're on the folder or on the volume that I gave the name shared volume when I created the volume. They're in the folder underneath shares, 3 different folders right now. Now is the important thing. They're just irregular folders right now. Let's go to the public read write one first. Right click on that, and I'm going to go to properties. And under sharing tab, I want to share it, but I want to use advanced sharing. I always want to use advanced sharing because I want to know the details of sharing. So I click on advanced sharing, and I'm going to share this folder. It gives me a default share name of public RW. But I like to put $signs in my share names because if you put a $sign in your share name, someone browsing the network using normal browsing of the network will not see it. It makes it sort of a hidden share. I believe that if they had the right hacking software or scanning software, they might still be able to see that that share is there. But for the normal network browser, no one will see that I have a share on my machine if I put the $sign there. And let's put the comments. We'll call it hidden public share from this server. We'll see where those comments show up. Now, I want to give permission for everyone to have read-write permission to this share. So now it's time to check permissions on the share. And the default is everyone, that's a special user group. Right now, by default, everyone has read. Well, let's go ahead and change that to full control for everyone. So anyone that accesses this share from other machines will be able to read or write files in this share. And I click OK. And you'd think that I'd be done right now. I have set up the share. I have given the permissions of everyone full control, but yet they don't really have full control yet, because not only do I have to set up sharing permission, I have to actually set up this machine to allow everyone that is coming across from a remote connection to actually have the permissions to actually get modify files. I've set sharing permissions, but I also have to set the security permissions on this folder. So I go to the security tab, and I need to edit the security permissions. I need to add, clicking the add button. I'm also going to add the everyone. I have to type in the word everyone, and then I click OK. I can just come down here and just type in the word everyone. And then, because I want everyone to actually have permissions to change files here, I can choose everyone allow full control. So you're doing a lot of exercising of your file permissions knowledge while you're setting up the share, which is why I think this is a valuable exercise, just giving you, building your skills and just manipulating some file sharing issues on the machine. And you can always come back and view your permissions by going to the security tab, going to the edit, and you can see when you click on any user what permissions they have down below in the permissions. You have to click on the particular user or group before you'll know what permissions that group has. And I can remove, and the whole permissions things under Windows is deny takes precedence over allows. So if I choose everyone and deny them read permission, that would take precedence over all these permissions that have allow. So don't do a deny unless you really know you're denying the correct group or you've kept you yourself from actually having the right permission. So I click OK. There's the security permissions, sharing and security permissions. Now I can close, and now I have given read-write permissions for sharing to this folder. You need any help up there doing it? I can help you.
I think we got it.
Think you got it? I'll pause a little bit as you check that out, because the next thing we want to do is actually verify that it actually is being shared. Thank you, Samuel, for helping out. And if you need to take any screenshots along the way, here's a great, I'll go ahead and do a screenshot just to show what I would probably do a screenshot of this properties sharing, and I would probably take a screenshot of this, or actually even that. Let's see if I can put those next to each other. This wouldn't be bad to do. If I want a screenshot to prove what I did, I think I might do this. Let's try something here. Let's try moving this over here.
Mr. Manning?
Yep.
Does it have to be the server version of Windows?
No, no.
Oh.
You can do this in any version of Windows. I'm gonna put all these windows right next to each other so that I can verify and take a screenshot of those three windows. And I can only move them one at a time here. Let's move this one all the way to the side. Let's view my advanced sharing and put that right there. And permissions, and I'm going to put that right there. And I'm going to take a screenshot of those three windows to put in my document. So I'm going to come over here and now do a snipping tool. Do a new snip, and snipping tool of those settings. I open them one at a time, and I'll put that in my document.
So where are we at right now?
I have set up the window sharing. I'm putting a screenshot of the settings that I visited after changing the settings. So you see the name of my share, public RW $, and I see the permissions, and it shows the share name there. It is shared. I didn't show the security. I think I'll do the security settings. Let's try security settings, edit, and select the everyone, and I'll do a screenshot of these two to show that everyone, the user everyone, has been given full control under the security permissions. So I'll do a snipping tool of that one too.
So there was, what we did then is just made folders.
Yeah, we made folders, and now we've
on
set,
that drive.
yeah, and then we've changed, set the permissions now, and I'll paste that into my document, showing the appropriate settings. You can always go back and visit the settings by just going properties of that folder. Okay? Now, how do I know it's actually being shared? Here's what we can do. We can go down to services, or sorry, no, here, shared folder right here. Shared folder right here, and expand that and click on shares, and look at that. It shows you that there's a share name called public RW $. Its location is over there on the E drive, public RW. No one has connected to it yet. So I'm going to do a screenshot of this now too. So computer management is a very powerful tool to be familiar with, and it looks the same. You cannot do this on Windows Home, I don't think. So you have to have Windows Pro or better. Same, and it's Windows 10 is about the same as well. So I'm going to take a snipping tool of that now and put that in my document. So this shows in computer management, yes indeed, that share has been created. And I'll paste that now in my document right here.
How do we? I'm not sure if I'm on the right place to show, like, in computer management that the folder is shared.
Under shared folder shares, does it show in that list?
Shared public. Yeah,
Yep.
but it doesn't show up with a dollar sign.
Oh, then you didn't make yours hidden. I'm not requiring that you make yours hidden.
Okay.
The dollar sign just means that it is hidden.
Okay.
So if there's a share with the name you gave it, then it's shared. If it shows up here. Now, as we go here, look at this. When I first saw this, it shocked me that every machine, without you doing anything, has a hidden share by the name of the drive. And that's kind of scary. Like, wait a minute, I'm actually sharing my entire drive somehow? Yes, you are. That is built into Windows. The permissions are pretty strict, but yet it's like, well, what if there was a bug in the sharing software? Someone can get to my full drive. That is one of the major vulnerabilities in Windows. It's not I'd say it's not vulnerable, but it is a huge possibility for hacking if someone can somehow find a bug in the sharing software in Windows, such as buffer overflow or crashing the software somewhere, so it lets you in with admin privileges. I can just imagine what I can do if I could come to your share and mess with your machine. So these are scary shares. Remember, I made the E drive. Even before I made my own share, it made an E $ share on my machine. And it's essentially for system activities to manage your system remotely. Now, we have that share. Now, let's see here. Let's see now if we can go to the Linux side and actually access that share. Actually, let's do it from the Windows side first, because Windows is a little easier. First of all, let's check my IP address of this machine. My IP address is, I'll bring up the command line, and I can do ipconfig. I see my address is this address, and I know that that's a lab, an address in this lab. So I'm going to bring my File Explorer up on my machine, and you could do this from your desktop. If you don't have your IP address as being a 172 address, if you have it as a host-only address, you should be able to, from your machine, map that network drive. This is how in Windows we get to other network drives, shared files. I right-click on this PC, map network drive. I think you could search for map network drive, but an easy way is just to click on this PC. I think you can right-click on this PC. I think you can right-click on any folder. Let's see if I can right-click on a drive. Other options. Oh, I guess I have to click on this PC to do the map network drive.
Do we have the IP address yet, or no?
Mine does. I have a 172.16.2.173. Your Windows system should have an IP address.
Oh, I'm referring to the drive that we're.
Oh yeah, the drive. The drive is a share on that IP address of your machine.
Okay.
Okay. So this is what you get when you say map network drive. You get to decide, and you get to decide. Let's see back here in the share. Do you see how I've already mounted other shares on other machines? This one actually I can mount it twice. I didn't realize I had to mount it twice. I want to mount this machine's drive, and it chooses a letter for me. Again, I could decide one of the other drive letters if I want. I'll go with the next one in line. And the folder that I want to mount is 2 backslashes, like they have in the example here, 2 backslashes, either the name of the server, or I prefer the IP address of the server. And this is where you have to know what was the share name given to it. And I have to go back and remember, what did I give the share name? Well, that's over here under computer management. The share name was public RW dollar for mine. So public RW dollar is what would go here. And Windows doesn't care about case, but Linux does, so I like to follow good practices of proper case as the share name given over here. So again, I gave it the share name here. Now I have to use that share name right here. And let's see what happens now if I click finish. It's asking me for my credentials, to the machine, and I remember my credentials. AT Manning. Oh no, did I give it? I don't know if I gave a AT Manning user over there. Let's see what user I have created over there. I have users. I only have administrator. Remember the permissions part? Everyone means anyone that has logged in or has credentials on this machine. So I need to make a user so they can be part of the everyone group on this server over here. So I'm gonna, how about we call it a, should I call it public? I'll give it, how about guest? Or not guest, how about student? Let's try new user. Let's give the username student. Full name is student. Description is student. And I'll give it the password of my insecure 311 IoT. Oops, 311. Make sure I type that correctly both times. I'm not going to make them change their password. I'm not going to make the password expire. And create that user and close. Now I can come over here and say, okay, now I know there's a student password with a password 311 IoT. And I'm going to have it remember it, so whenever I want to connect to this share again, it'll remember. Now these are all insecure things that I'm doing. It's never secure to remember your passwords, but out of convenience, because I'm only worried about getting the share working, I'm going to have it remember and click OK. And looky there, I have a file explorer shows up, and under here I see I have a new drive that is showing up under this PC. If I click here, I can see it also show up over here. Share public RW in parentheses the IP address of my server, and I can go over there and let's create a file. Let's do a new folder, and we'll call it Manning, or excuse me, JSmart. John Smart was here. It allowed me to create that folder. Let's go over to this machine that is sharing that folder, and let's view that share under public RW, and look at that. I see the folder that John Smart created. Now so far I've only done it from Windows. So far I'm sharing I can see that the share is working from another Windows machine, because that's the easiest thing to do.
What was after the IP address? Was it 2 backslashes again?
It's if you look up here, 2 backslashes IP address, and then 1 backslash and the share name. And I'm going to do it again now.
Okay.
I'm going to go through the whole thing again in the next few minutes to just do it one more time. We're going to do the read-only share. So I'm going to go back to shares, and I'm going to walk through this same process again. This time I'm going to make the one public read-only, and then we'll do the private. I'll leave it to you to do the private one. Let's try right-click, properties of the public read-only. I'm going to go sharing, advanced, share the folder, the exact same name, only I'm going to add the $sign to it just because it's good practice to hide it. I'm going to call it public read-only hidden. Permissions, well, the default permissions are only read, so I'm going to leave that alone. And let's see, just for a screenshot, I'm going to move it here. Advanced sharing, move that here. Permissions, move that here, so I can get a screenshot of all 3 windows right next to each other. And now I'll do my snipping tool for my documentation. So this is a second share. And where did I lost my mouse? There it is. Second share, snipping tool of this. And I'm going to put that in my documentation. So this will be read-only share, the read-only share. Okay, so there's the permissions on the server side. Now let's, okay. Remember, we have the sharing part, but we also have to have the security part. Add the security. Notice everyone is not listed here. Only users may actually work, but let's add the everyone just to be consistent. Let's add everyone, and let's give everyone the default read and execute. Actually, how about let's turn off the execute part. Let's just leave the read and list. And this is where I'm not sure why would I want them to be able to execute? Would I want them to be able to execute? That seems a little dangerous. I'm going to have a mild security thing so they don't accidentally double click and run something that they didn't intend to run. So I'm going to turn off execute, but just leave the read part. And I click OK. Actually, let's go ahead and we'll do the screenshot of those two things. The security part of that, I'll do the snipping tool of that. And put it in my document for the security settings. Now I click OK and close. And now, what's the name of my share? Well, let's go back to computer management and let's view our shares. There it is. Public read only dollar is I gave it a hidden share. I added a dollar to the word public read only. And notice I have one client connection underneath a public RW. That's because I connected to it from this instructor machine. And so this shows you, hey, people are connected to my share. Now let's go to my instructor machine and connect to the public read only share just to show that that's working. And then we'll worry about how to do it from the Linux side, because that's a whole nother animal. So over on my machine here, I'm going to right click on this PC and do another map network drive. I'm going to leave it to be the next letter available. The folder, again, is going to be 2 backslashes, and see, just like down here, they give you example. 2 backslashes, the server name or IP address, 172.16. Uh-oh, I forgot the number. What was his number again? 2.173. Forgot his IP address. Where'd my network drive thing go? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Somehow it got moved over to my other window. 16.2.173. And the name of the share I see right here, public read only $. Now, one thing that's special about Windows, it's kind of an annoying thing, Windows will not let you share with a different user than you already are connected to. So if I tried to connect with like student 2, it'd say, sorry, you're connected to another share using different credentials, which is kind of annoying, and not sure why they had to set it up that way, that you couldn't connect to one share with one user and another share with a different user. So I have to use the same credentials, and if I try to use different credentials, it will break. Let's see what happens. I think it'll assume I'm the student that I've already connected with. Let's see what happens if I click finish now. And it doesn't ask me for a user because it says, oh, I see you're already connected to that machine. I'll use the same user. And now let's come over here and refresh our computer management view, and I should see, look at that, I see an additional session connected to my public read only. And I hadn't noticed this. Look at that, my IPC shows an additional client connection. That's interesting. It didn't show that when I connected to the read-write share, but now it shows it a connection here. So I can't explain that because I haven't explored what IPC dollar is all about. So now you have a little practice here, at least setting up a share, connecting to it from Windows. On Monday, we're going to connect to it from Linux.
I think I know why the C drive is shared. It's for updates.
Windows updates?
Yeah. Because otherwise, I don't know that they could really read or write to your computer.
Well, Windows Update should be initiated by my computer. It may be part of it. It's definitely something to do with system management, and it shows up on systems even if they're not part of Active Directory.
Active Directory.
Yeah, Active Directory is a way for one computer, the server, to control access credentialing on multiple machines. But the C share is there even if you're just a standalone PC, no one else in your lab. So it's giving some sort of, and maybe Microsoft can call from home and control them. It's a little scary to see that. And actually, if you try to disable that share, I don't think it'll let you stop sharing that. You can try it just for fun. But since I'm in the middle of the shares, just for convenience, I'm going to suspend this rather than shutting him down. So when I come back on Monday, we'll fire this up and connect from our Linux machine. So between now and Monday, it'd be great for you to make sure your Linux machine is installed and maybe do a little research about a thing called Samba, S-A-M-B-A. Do a little research on Samba and Linux. That is the software that we're going to use to connect to Linux shares. Linux can do the same type of mapping a file, mapping a drive, if Samba is running. There's one other